Remember when Saturday morning TV actually meant something? Before streaming and on-demand everything, kids across America had one weekly ritual: rolling out of bed, grabbing a bowl of sugary cereal, and parking themselves in front of the TV for hours of non-stop cartoons. In the 1990s, Saturday morning wasn't just a time slot, it was more like a cultural event. And here's the thing. For every Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or X-Men that became a phenomenon, there were just as many shows that crashed and burned before most kids even had time to finish their Cocoa Puffs. Networks were constantly experimenting, and not every animated adventure turned into a childhood classic. Today, we're looking back at 10 forgotten Saturday morning cartoons from the 90s, the ones that came and went faster than your favorite theme song's opening chorus. If you love nostalgic deep dives into the best and weirdest parts of the 90s, then make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We've got plenty more memories where these came from. With that, let's jump in. We start our list with ProStars from NBC in 1991. Only in the 90s could someone pitch, let's put Michael Jordan, Bo Jackson, and Wayne Gretzky in a Saturday morning cartoon where they fight crime, and actually get it made. That was the show ProStars, which debuted on NBC in 1991. The show turned three of the biggest athletes on the planet into animated superheroes. Jordan used high-tech basketball gear, Bo had football and baseball gadgets, and Gretzky mostly ate a lot and just cracked jokes the entire time. Together, they tackled villains threatening kids, the environment, or entire cities, all while teaching a moral lesson at the end. Each episode even opened with live-action clips of the real Jordan, Jackson, and Gretzky answering kids' questions. Fun fact about this show, the athletes didn't actually voice their cartoon counterparts. Professional voice actors handled the animation, while the real stars only appeared in the intros. Despite the star power, ProStars only lasted one season with 13 episodes. Still, this show is remembered as one of the strangest celebrity tie-in cartoons of the decade. Part superhero fantasy, part PSA, and 100% peak 90s weirdness. If you thought the Ninja Turtles were weird, wait until you meet the Toxic Crusaders.
Count on your larva ship. I'm a ruthless interplanetary invader.
Not anymore, you're not. Your replacement should be arriving momentarily.
You're replacing me with a bag of garbage?
This short-lived animated series was based on The Toxic Avenger, a cult B-movie from Troma that was so violent and raunchy it's amazing that anyone would think, hey, let's make a version for kids. Premiering in 1991, the show followed Toxie, a janitor transformed into a radioactive mutant superhero after falling into toxic waste, and his team of equally bizarre misfit heroes. Together, they battled the evil Dr. Kill-Em-Off while sending a heavy-handed, save the Earth message. Think Captain Planet, but if Captain Planet had a mop and a melted green face. Toxic Crusader ran for just 13 episodes, but it spawned a surprising amount of merchandise. Action figures, a video game, and even a Marvel Comics tie-in. For a brief moment, Toxie was everywhere, proving that in the early 90s, any weird concept could get a merch line if you slapped neon slime on it. In the early 1990s, networks were obsessed with turning celebrities into Saturday morning superheroes. And in 1991, ABC decided that what kids really needed was MC Hammer. Enter Hammerman, a cartoon where the hip-hop superstar fought villains with the help of his magical talking shoes. Yeah, really. His shoes.
All right, Stanley. You were slamming.
Thanks, Gramps. But I couldn't have done it without the shoes.
You got that right.
You guys are really kicking it. Well, it's bag time, boys.
The setup was peak 90s weirdness. Hammer's animated alter ego was Stanley Burrell, being Hammer's real name, a social worker who discovered a pair of enchanted sneakers. Whenever he put the shoes on, he transformed into Hammerman, a crime-fighting hero who took on everything from graffiti monsters to crooked developers trying to shut down youth centers. And naturally, every adventure wrapped up with a moral reflection, usually delivered through a dance number. Each episode opened with a live-action segment featuring Hammer himself, introducing the story and sometimes addressing kids directly before the animation started. The cartoon leaned in hard on Hammer's superstar persona, but the animation was stiff, the writing was thin at best, and the whole thing felt more like an extended promotional vehicle rather than a fully realized series. Therefore, Hammerman lasted just one season, being 13 episodes long, before disappearing from ABC's Saturday morning lineup. Today, the show is remembered as one of the strangest celebrity tie-in cartoons of the decade. Proof that in the 90s, fame alone could get you a Saturday morning slot, magical shoes and all. So in 1991, ABC decided that kids needed a Saturday morning version of Little Shop of Horrors. So they gave us Little Shop, an animated prequel that absolutely nobody was asking for.
He doesn't have any money either.
Personally, I wouldn't take that off a piece of mulch like him. Of course, I'm bigger than he is.
Junior, you're alive.
What do I look like? I'm made out of plastic?
But you're talking to me.
Nobody ever talks to you, huh?
Instead of Seymour as an adult florist, the cartoon reimagined him as a nerdy 13-year-old who owned a magical wrapping plant named Junior. Yeah, you heard that right. The man-eating Audrey 2 was reinvented as Junior, a wisecracking, hip-hop-loving sidekick who dropped rap numbers whenever the story slowed down. Junior still needed to eat, but instead of blood, this kid-friendly version survived on junk food. Slap some sunglasses on a cartoon plant, give him a beat, and suddenly you had ABC's idea of Saturday morning gold. The tone was pure early 90s cheese. Light moral lessons, goofy bullies, and rap segments that sounded like they were written by ad executives trying to cash in on hip-hop's popularity. Even Audrey was reimagined as a sweet preteen crush for Seymour, further keeping things as squeaky clean as possible. Little Shop lasted just one season, 13 episodes, before ABC yanked it from the schedule. Today, it's remembered as one of the strangest Saturday morning adaptations ever, showing us that in the 90s, literally anything could be sanitized into a kid's cartoon, even a cult musical about a flesh-eating plant. Well, if you thought the 90s gave us some strange cartoons, nothing tops Fish Police.
Barnacle butt, if you know what's good for you, you'll tell your boss, Calamari, to come down to the station for a little questioning. Hello. Sandy, do you see what I see?
In 1992, CBS took a dark, noir-inspired comic book and turned it into a primetime animated sitcom. And the result was weird. Imagine Law & Order meets The Little Mermaid, only with way more bad puns and way fewer reasons to exist. Set in the underwater city of Fish City, the series followed Inspector Gill, a trench coat-wearing detective constantly tangled up with mob bosses, femme fatales, and, of course, some shady plots. The cast was surprisingly stacked. John Ritter voiced Inspector Gill, Ed Asner played his gruff police chief, and Tim Curry chewed the scenery as the villainous Biscuit. On paper, this show had all the makings of a cult hit. And the problem? Fish Police never figured out its audience. The innuendos and adult humor were far too edgy for kids, but the slapstick antics and fish puns were way too juvenile for adults. This tonal mismatch left everyone scratching their heads, or gills. CBS pulled the plug after airing only a paltry 3 episodes, even though 6 total episodes were produced. That's how bad Fish Police was. Today, this show mostly survives as a cautionary tale, proof that just because you can adapt a comic book into animation doesn't mean you should. If you ever wondered what it would look like to teach monsters instead of humans, then Gravedale High tried to answer that question for you.
Hey, now that's enough. Settle down or we're not going to accomplish anything.
Hey, forget it, Teach. We're not supposed to accomplish anything. Why do you think we're in this dead-end class, huh?
I can tell you why I'm in this class. I'm here to teach. And as long as I am, you're here to learn. And if you can't handle that, Mr. Stoker, there's the window.
In fall of 1990, NBC premiered this Hanna-Barbera cartoon built as a star vehicle for Rick Moranis. He voiced Max Schneider, a straight-laced human teacher who accidentally ends up instructing a class full of teenage monsters at a school behind the realm of the living. The monster students are all teenage analogs of horror types. Vinny Stroker, a cool vampire greaser. Frankentyke, a pint-sized Frankenstein's kid. Reggie Moonshroud, a nerdy werewolf. Cleopatra, a mummy girl. Gil Waterman, a surfer monster. Duzzer, a gorgon with snake hair. Blanche, a Southern Belle zombie. Sid, the invisible trickster, and J.P. Ghastly III, a weird gnome-like creature. Schneider is the only human in the mix, and many episodes revolve around him trying to keep order while empathizing with his misfit students. The school itself is of course built on spooky landscapes. Cemeteries, mausoleums, and graveyards form the town of Gravedale. The series ran one entire season with just 13 episodes going from September 8th to December 1st of 1990. Despite this creative concept and high-profile voice cast, including Tim Curry, Jonathan Winters, Eileen Brennan, Barry Gordon, and many more, Gravedale couldn't stick it beyond 13 episodes. Today, this show's a cult relic. A weird but earnest attempt to mix high school sitcom tropes with monster lore, all wrapped in early 90s cartoon energy. If you were ever flipping channels on a Saturday morning and stumbled into a classroom full of Dracula, Medusa, and Frankenstein's kid complaining about exams, you were probably watching Gravedale High. If you grew up in the early 90s, you might remember the Bots Master, or maybe the phrase, "Laser time, boys," echoing in your head.
Someone's ace isn't been hurt.
Oh no, not Cook.
I just knew it. I've had a bad feeling in my gyros all day.
I'm fine, Cook. Honestly, I am.
I'll be the judge of that, young man, unless you intend on taking over my medical practice.
This syndicated cartoon from 1993 was a wild mashup of action, toy marketing, and one of the strangest gimmicks in Saturday morning history: 3D glasses. The show followed Ziv ZZ Zullander, a teenage robotics genius framed by the evil Sir Louis Leon Paradigm of the megacorporation RM Corp. ZZ fought back with his team of talking robots, the Boys, brain-operated young Zybots, each designed with its own goofy personality. From Jammers, the DJ bot, to Tools, the handyman. But here's where things got weird. During certain battle scenes, the show would flash laser time on the screen, telling kids to put on their special 3D glasses. Suddenly, lasers, explosions, and robots would pop out at you, at least in theory. In reality, most of us just gave ourselves headaches and scratched up the free cardboard glasses. The Bots Master ran for 40 episodes in syndication, but never quite took off the way its toy sponsors were hoping. Today, it lives on as one of those quintessential, only in the 90s experiments, proving that Saturday morning TV could make even 3D glasses part of your cartoon homework. If you thought every comic book in the 90s was destined to become a cartoon, WildC.A.T.s proved that wasn't always a good idea. Based on Jim Lee's hit Image comic series, the show launched on CBS in 1994, right at the height of the comic book boom. On paper, WildC.A.T.s had everything kids wanted: superheroes, aliens, and enough shoulder pads and pouches to make even Rob Liefeld jealous. The story followed a group of alien-human hybrids, the WildC.A.T.s, locked in a secret war against the evil Daemonites, who could possess human bodies. The WildC.A.T.s were led by Spartan, with memorable members like Zealot, Grifter, and Voodoo all trying to protect Earth while looking like they'd just stepped off the cover of a holofoil comic. Unfortunately, translating Image's dark, violent comic style into a kid-friendly Saturday morning cartoon left the show rather toothless. The characters all looked extreme, but the writing and animation were certainly not extreme, and most of the edge that made the comic a hit got watered down. WildC.A.T.s only lasted 13 episodes, airing from 94 to 95 before CBS pulled the plug. It's remembered today mostly as part of the 90s wave of short-lived cartoons based on hot comic properties. a show that looked cool on your action figure shelf but fizzled on the television. If you thought the 90s had reached peak dark and edgy with shows like Gargoyles, then along came Skeleton Warriors.
Ah, Prince Joshua, my dear friend.
Not for long, if Justin has his way.
Our relationship has never been a warm one, I'm afraid. I think he senses that I don't respect him.
A cartoon that asks, what if we made He-Man, but everybody's a corpse? Airing on CBS from 1994 to 95, this short-lived series was created by Gary Goddard. That's the guy behind Masters of the Universe, and produced by Landmark Entertainment and CBS. The premise was gloriously over the top. On the planet Luminaire, Prince Lightstar and his siblings fought to protect the Lightstar Crystal, the source of all good. Their enemies? Well, that's of course the evil Baron Dark, who could literally strip people of their flesh and turn them into his undead army of skeleton warriors. Think like Skeletor, but way more nightmare fuel. The designs were hardcore, even by 90s standards. The Skeleton Warriors looked like heavy metal album covers brought to life, with clanking bones, glowing eyes, and weapons that seemed impossible to actually wield. The heroes, in the meanwhile, had that classic shiny armor look that screamed, "Buy the action figure." And yep, there was of course a toy line, produced by Playmates, the same company behind Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. However, unlike the Turtles, Skeleton Warriors just didn't click with kids. It lasted only 13 episodes, quickly vanishing into the Saturday morning graveyard. Today, this show is remembered less for its story and more for its unforgettable aesthetic. A show that doubled as free advertising for the coolest and creepiest toys that nobody ever bought. Only in the 90s could a show like Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa exist.
It's Moo! It's Moo, Montana!
Right both times. Colorado, let's teach these boys the ropes.
You betcha, buddy.
Debuting on ABC in 1992, this fever dream of a cartoon mashed up two of kids' favorite things, westerns and mutant animals. And the result? Anthropomorphic cowboy cows fighting crime in a frontier town that looked like it was straight out of a Saturday morning sugar rush. The heroes were led by Marshall Moo Montana, alongside his deputies Dakota Dude and Colorado Kid. Together, they fought to keep Moo Mesa safe from the over-the-top villains like Mayor Oscar Baloney and Sheriff Terrible, who were basically puns with legs. Created by Ryan Brown, a key figure in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise, Moo Mesa had toyetic written all over it. And yep, Hasbro released a line of action figures that looked just like the Turtles' distant bovine cousins. Visually, the show leaned hard into slapstick Western tropes, but with a weirdly earnest streak. Episodes tackled things like corruption, greed, and even environmental issues, right in between all the cattle puns and lasso gags. Despite its charm, Moo Mesa only lasted 26 episodes, 2 seasons long, before vanishing into syndication obscurity. Today, the show is remembered as part of the turtle ripoff era of cartoons, but for kids who watched it, it was utterly unforgettable. And there you have it, 10 forgotten Saturday morning cartoons from the 90s that deserve a little more love. Saturday mornings may never be the same, but for a whole generation, they'll always bring back the sound of theme songs, cereal crunching, and commercials begging us to ask our parents first. So which of these cartoons do you remember watching? Or did we miss one that was your personal favorite? Drop it in the comments. We love hearing about which forgotten shows you all grew up with. I remember seeing one episode of ProStars one random Saturday and not caring and never seeing it again. I also remember how much I loved the X-Men in the 90s. And that show was so successful that they rebooted it, calling it X-Men 97. That was pretty recent. If you enjoyed this nostalgic trip back to the 90s, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into retro TV history. So until next time, keep your cereal dry, your cartoons loud, and your nostalgia strong.